Welcome to the Football Fan Show podcast this week. I'm Danny Harrington, joined this week by Liam Barry. We are talking about Harry Kane to Manchester City. Should they just scrap it and sign Erling Haaland? Wait a season for Erling Haaland to be available for £90 million from Borussia Dortmund? Should they go for him now and just sack off Kane completely? Will they, if Man City do miss out on Kane, will they live to regret it? We're also talking about the Rwandan President and his criticism of Arsenal, and we're talking about transfers from controversial football clubs. Think Celtic, Rangers, Fenerbahce and Galatasaray get a mention at the end of the podcast. We'll also talk about a little bit of rivalries as well. If you like it, make sure you hit follow or subscribe wherever you're tuned into or watching the podcast. Thank you very much, and let's get into it. Our first talking point is all about Manchester City, Harry Kane and Erling Haaland. Here you go. It's this week's Football Fan Show. Let's start with Manchester City. Let's start with a man called Noel Gallagher. Don't look back in anger. Stop crying your heart out and all that jazz. He has spoken to Talk Sport and thinks that Manchester City should forget about signing Harry Kane. Who the freaking hell is he? It's all about Erling Haaland.
Firstly, I know you've just said the Oasis quote, "Stop crying your heart out," and it does look like I am doing that right now. But I don't know why I just started stinging. It won't stop.
Oh, wow.
The thing is, I suppose, for City is they need a centre forward now, I suppose, really, don't they? Because Haaland, obviously, Dortmund have already said he's not going anywhere this year, and he's got that release clause that kicks in next summer, which should obviously make him a bit more affordable for people and that. And I know the money's not really an issue for City, but there's an element of it's what they need right now. Are there other options than Kane? Absolutely, but I can't see him going abroad. If they don't buy him, I think part of it will be if they don't buy him and he stays at Spurs at least till January, then there's potential that United could go in for him, and they don't want their rivals to sort of strengthen, because I don't think Spurs are going to be doing much this season with or without him. To be fair, they're going through a transitional period, aren't they? So I feel like City, they need him, and if they wait for Haaland, then it could potentially impact their season this year, just because they've got all that creativity, but they just need someone. I mean, I'm saying that after a 5-0 win. They need someone to stick the ball in the back of the net. They're just really struggling for goals, Dan. I don't know what they're going to do.
They didn't play very well against Tottenham. They definitely lacked that clinical finisher. I mean, we make fun of Norwich City, but Tottenham were able to beat them by a goal to nil.
I think it's just that they need. I think if you look at obviously how they played today and everything, that and sort of the second half of last season, because Aguero was injured anyways, wasn't he, for a large spell of that, and they played without a recognised centre forward, and they scored a lot of goals. They obviously walked away with the title. So, and I think Pep's kind of preference is to play that way and not necessarily have an out and out centre forward. But you want to have the option to have one and play a different way. So he doesn't want to play exactly the same way all the time. He wants to tinker with it. I think. What do you think?
I would like to see Erling Haaland play for his hometown club, Leeds United. Cool. Leeds United.
Yeah.
Never going to happen.
I like the idea of I'd like to see Haaland in the Premiership.
Well, he has come out and said that his ideal move is to the Premier League. Bayern Munich apparently very, very interested in him, but he's not interested in them, apparently.
Well, I find Bayern is quite an interesting club, because it does feel like it's one of those clubs where once you go there, like players tend not to leave because they want to leave, they want to do something else. It's because they don't need you anymore. They've replaced you. You've kind of aged out. I know, obviously, Lewandowski's he's kind of like the exception to that rule, I suppose, really, because he's saying now, isn't he, making noises saying he wants to leave. In general, you kind of go. So for Haaland, if he goes there, I can't see. where do you go after that? Because he's guaranteed, pretty much guaranteed a title every year. He's going to be in the Champions League every year and competing for that as well. So I think the players get quite comfortable there. But I think if you come to the Premiership, you know that it's going to be a battle. It's not going to be easy every season to win the league. And Man City, despite all their money, they're testament to that. You can't just have all the money and win the league every year, because they don't. Same with Chelsea. And like you say, he is, I suppose, technically English. He wants to come home.
He's from that well-known part of Norway, Leeds.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't do the Mick McCarthy voice again. But he obviously a Norwegian international, Borussia Dortmund's number 9. It's either him or Kane at this point. Will City regret if they wait for Haaland I think you did hint on the fact that you think that they would with Lukaku at Chelsea. I see.
I suppose it depends what they do, doesn't it? Because if Pep can make sure he's got all of his attacking midfielders firing, he'd probably be fine. The likes of because if they've got Sterling, Mahrez, they've got goals all through their forward line, haven't they? Because obviously, like De Bruyne chips in, you've got Grealish now, if he's going to be chipping in as well. Bernardo Silva when he's brought in, Jesus. I don't know. I always feel slightly disappointed by him.
I mean, you've got to be. I kind of feel sorry for him because he's clearly not good enough to be there. Like he's clearly second rate, but he's at a club where he is now the main striker, even though he shouldn't be. So for him, he'll milk it all that it's worth, like Bale at a golf course.
Yeah, absolutely.
He'll milk it for all it's worth, and fair play to him. He should milk it for all it's worth. It's they've got to go for Harry Kane, haven't they? So should Man City go?
What are their other options though? What are their other options, like cheaper options? So who else have you got out there is potentially available? I know Lewandowski said that he's up for a move, and if I'm honest, I think it'd be hilarious if they just went, yeah, he's 34 or 32, but yeah, let's do it.
I mean, they could always go to Barcelona and say, well, we hear Sergio Aguero doesn't want to be at this club anymore, and we kind of like him back, if you don't mind.
No, but could they potentially look somewhere else, elsewhere around the league, and I know he can be quite patchy, but Richarlison could be an option, And he's a bit more he's a bit flexible. He doesn't have to be centre forward all the time. And that maybe if they want an out and out centre forward, would they start looking at other options?
Griezmann, Antoine Griezmann is he's not a spring chicken, but I'm just thinking Barcelona are in such a financial mess that you could probably get a few bargain deals there.
Yeah, potentially. It's not like wages are going to be an issue or anything. I don't know. You look around as well. Like, who else? Lautaro Martinez at Inter. I know Arsenal have been interested in that, but he did his first season at Inter. He was really sort of highly rated in that, and obviously last season it was all about Lukaku, wasn't it? But he's a decent striker. I suppose. Well, if you think about like Mario Icardi. You look at PSG now, and with Messi being there, with Mbappe and Neymar, he's barely gonna play.
Yeah, that's true. But will they get him for a reasonable price? Because it does look like that financial fair play is out of the window when it comes to PSG, because there's such. I said this conspiracy theory last week, and it is a conspiracy theory. I have no truth. I have no ounce of evidence to it. All I'm just going to say is European Super League, and how PSG were mysteriously not a part of it, and PSG just going, and their president having a position at UEFA just so happens to be able to sign anyone they bloody like and spend all the money on the wages.
look, I think with FFP and Man City, to be fair to him, said this like right from the off, and that was we're going to kind of we'll operate how we operate. If they want to try and come at us for FFP, we've got our lawyers ready, and we will take it to court, and it'll be put off and off, and it'll be put off and it'll be put off, and they'll tie him up in so much litigation that it'll never happen. So I feel
PSG
I
would
feel
go
like
down
with
the same
those clubs,
strategy.
yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. I've got no doubt about that. And you look at the teams really that have been made an example of when it comes to FFP, and they've been like Turkish sides and that, haven't they? Who don't have
the money.
Yeah, they don't have the money to be able to go through all of that. So yeah, so I feel like UEFA and that are just like, what can we do?
Another name that we'll talk about a little bit later on, but potentially throwing it out there, Kylian Mbappe.
Well, yeah, he's saying he's not renewing his contract, isn't he?
Yeah.
But
which
I don't know.
Is insane,
really
but we'll go into that later.
Madrid, isn't he?
Why?
The stories I hear is that he really wants Real Madrid, or that Liverpool are circling. Now I don't know if the kind of like if that's reciprocated with Liverpool.
Liverpool will never get Mbappe.
The money would be astronomical.
Yeah, and I'm sure too much more than they're willing to spend.
Well, I think the thing is that you can do it for one player. If Liverpool get Mbappe, they would, whatever he wanted, they'd probably be able to pay it. But the problem's not that. It's when Salah then goes, well, hang on, I want parity with him, and some of these players have that written in their contracts as well, don't they? That they have to have parity or being with at least 10% of the top earner in the club and stuff. So the knock-on effect of that is signing a player like that, unless you are a PSG or a City or maybe even a Chelsea, the knock-on effect of that when it comes to salaries and everything is a nightmare. And like you look at sort of Spurs when they have they've got very strict wage structure, but when they started giving Harry Kane new contracts every summer, and he's his salary's going up, everyone else is looking around going like, well, hang on a minute, we're doing this too. We want pay rises. They're not getting them. Then they're not allowed to go. Then Levy makes it difficult for him to move on or anything as well, because he wants astronomical fees or unrealistic fees for players. Look at like Danny Rose. To be fair, when he started to want to leave Spurs, he was actually a sought after player. Man United were quite interested in him, but then Levy just let him rot.
Yeah, that's what Levy does, and they're not budging from the £150 million that they want for Kane. I believe Man City's highest offer is £120 million plus Bernardo Silva. So yeah,
I'd be biting their hand off for that. I love Bernardo Silva. I think he's great. I'd love to have him.
But Tottenham apparently have rejected it and want £150 million. And knowing Daniel Levy the way he is going to get that £150 million by hook or by crook.
Well, you say that, but so let's say City just go, nah, we're going to get a Cardi, or we're just going to hold out for Haaland then, and we're going to spend less, because I think when his release clause kicks in, isn't it something like 90 million or something like that?
Yeah.
Then that reasonable price of 90
more
million
reasonable
pounds.
price. Yeah.
But when that kicks in, they'll be able to go and go, right, okay, well maybe we'll see how things go this season, or maybe we buy someone cheaper, but we spend 90 million on Haaland, who's like 6 years younger.
Yeah.
And it's
he's going to be around a bit more.
Arguably it's a better investment there. And I suppose one of the things with Kane as well, being that price, he didn't have a great Euros. Yes, there's a couple of knockout games that he got important goals in, and that. But on the whole, he wasn't great. He looked really tired, really leggy. He was dropping into midfield, for me, dropping in too much and getting in the way, and then wasn't up top to actually finish anything when chances were created. But if there's something actually wrong with him, being that leggy in that. Is it actually worth it? Would it be worth it for City? You get a player who's actually, you buy a car and then you get back and you realise, oh, hang on a minute, the exhaust's loose. There's no seatbelts in this car. Oh, and by the way, the ignition doesn't work.
And it's made out of cardboard.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's definitely going to happen with him, but it felt like, when I was watching him in the Euros, it felt like that. You kind of looked at me and thought, like, there's something not right there. And maybe that's why they're hesitating, because maybe they know that actually, they'll get him, and they know he's going to miss a portion of the season because they need to sort him out first. I don't know.
Anyway, let's end that discussion on Harry Kane, and still Chelsea are my picks to win the league because of Lukaku, unless they sign Haaland or Harry Kane. When the facts change, my opinion changes, but the facts have not changed yet, so Chelsea still for me. Let's talk about a small African nation that has an unsavoury history and is known mostly for that unsavoury history. Unfortunately, luckily we're not talking about that unsavoury history. We are talking about their president, though, and the sponsorship of Arsenal on their sleeve that asks you to visit Rwanda. If you're going, go. But, man.
I mean, I'd love to know, like, what the increase in tourism has been since they've started sponsoring Arsenal, because I can't see it being a lot. Who's sitting around going like, yeah, right, I'll go Rwanda?
Yes, I want to go visit to where they filmed Hotel Rwanda. Yeah, they didn't actually film that in the country. It's just about the country. It's not actually filmed there. So, but there is plenty of history. It's one of on a more serious note, it's one of NATO's more embarrassing blind sites. What's that? Yugoslavia is destroying itself. Sorry, Africa, we got to deal with that. Deal with yourself. Deal with yourself. What's that? You've killed loads of people. Damn. Just an absolute disgrace. Anyway, so the Rwandan president has gone on to where all great presidents, particularly all great presidents, go. It's, of course, Twitter. I'm talking about Twitter. I feel like I should read this in a Donald Trump voice because it's very much in the spirit of the former US president. We must not excuse or accept mediocrity.
Do you know?
I was just going to say, a team has been built with the purpose to win. This does sound like something Donald Trump would tweet out.
It does.
So that when we lose, it was not to be expected. I am sure we all know whose shoulders the heaviest burden rests. I hope they know, too, or even accept it. End. It does sound like a Donald Trump tweet. The president of Rwanda clearly not enjoying or watching. I assume he's an Arsenal fan, and that's why they're sponsoring Arsenal.
For one, I couldn't give a shit if he likes it or not. also, has he not been watching Arsenal for the last 4 or 5 seasons? This is the worst we've been for 20 odd years. We're not in a great space at the moment. So what? Yeah, a loss to Brentford first game of the season is bad, and the performance was bad. But there was loads of bad performances last season. The whole time they've been a sleeve sponsor, we've been playing badly. So, apart from, we've got an FA Cup win in there and that as well. But, I mean, has he just not been watching and then he's just switched on and gone, oh, hang on a minute.
Is that our name on that? Is that our name on that shirt?
Do you think?
Crap.
Do you think that all of his advisors and stuff are doing deep fake videos of matches and going see, Arsenal won again, and they just doing all the football. Yeah, and he's just happened to he's gone to bed one night and he's just flicking through and he's found some highlights somewhere, saw that and he's like, whoa, hang on a minute, what's going on?
I thought we were world class. I thought Arsenal won the World Cup 2 years ago.
And the Euros.
And the Euros.
Did really well in the Olympics as well.
Yeah, didn't they win the gold medal in the Olympics? Yeah. Yeah, it does smack a little bit of China putting themselves top of the Olympic medals table by adding Macau, Hong Kong, and Taiwan's gold medals to beat the United States. It does reek a little bit of that, but I don't know. But he did tweet out to say they did deserve to lose to Brentford, but he said that the fans don't deserve it, and he says it as one of the biggest, as a big Arsenal fan. So that's why you got the president of the country sponsoring you.
That's indicative of Arsenal's fan base at the moment, though. Like we've lost the first game this season, and it was bad. And like I said, Arsenal aren't in a great space at the moment. Mason, making a lot of signings, clearly spending a lot of money, but it doesn't seem to quite be clicking. And the fan base, like after that one game, just gone absolutely into like a massive meltdown. He sounds like he should be on AFTV or something like that,
Venga out, fam!
Yeah. Like that idiot, what's his face? Troops just sat in a pub, just screaming. He's got his mate filming him in the pub, just screaming at Arteta on the TV. Everyone around him's trying to watch the game. Like, mate, will you just shut up, please? I'm just trying to watch this.
Who's the one that's like? I can't remember the name. I don't follow Arsenal TV, AFTV. It's a pile of shit, and they're all a joke.
It's awful. Yeah, it's not even for Arsenal fans, is it? It's for
non-Arsenal fans to laugh at Arsenal fans. It's a pile of shit. And to be honest, if I was Arsenal higher ups, I'd be like, we're banning them from this club.
Well,
they're not fans.
They stopped them from recording outside the ground, I think, didn't they?
Yeah, that's due more to copyright issues with the Emirates Stadium, because they were like, well, that we own the copyright images of that, so if you're going to film outside our ground, we're going to strike you. Which is a clever way of doing it, but now they have their own studios.
And they're not allowed to use the Arsenal name either.
Yeah, they have to use AFTV. So,
it's a start.
It's a start.
I think maybe so if the club have said, well, we own the copyright for the ground, so you can't be there. You also can't use the name. If the individual players just start coming like, I don't give you permission to use my name either in any of your videos.
Yeah,
if they can do that.
Who was the optimistic? It's Ty that's the optimistic one, isn't it? I had to Google it.
Oh, is he the one who the club shop has thrown up on?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Ty is that one, and absolutely, he's got like Arsenal beanie hat, Arsenal headphones, Arsenal jacket, Arsenal shirt, Arsenal shorts, probably Arsenal pants if you ask him. Arsenal shoes. He's to be fair to him, he's really positive, and I feel sorry. He's the only one I feel sorry for, because he must be so depressed right now. I did check AFTV out last week, and it was just a mushroom cloud. It was just a mushroom cloud. An atomic bomb had gone off.
The thing is, though, it's not limited to AFTV. Yeah, they're like the most prominent knobheads in the Arsenal fan base. But like, if Arsenal lose, I can't even look at my Twitter feed.
Yeah.
So I have two Twitter feeds. I have one that's predominantly football, and I have one for other stuff. And I'm just like, I go and hide in the other one, because it was like I want to go on Twitter, but God, it's horrible over there. I'm just going to my refuge in this other one where there's no talk of football at all.
I think when you've got a problem when in the summer Paddy Power's advert with Peter Crouch is taking the piss out of you with a fake Arsenal fan going, "We are still a super club." Oh God.
It's just too easy. That's the thing, and they're so sensitive. Like, one thing is said, and they're all going crazy, and then there's constant like, and I think because that's the kind of obviously the fan base that I kind of interact with and stuff, and the things that I see, I'm sat there sometimes thinking like, oh my God, this is crazy. Like, what's happened? Why have Arsenal fans gone insane? But then I talk to fans of other clubs, and a lot of them will feel the same about their fan bases as well. So I think part of it is just indicative of modern fandom, that there's this.
I think that's always been there. It's just never had a platform like Twitter.
Yeah, I never saw anything or heard anything that those.
It was best. It was best for a pub conversation, not on the frickin' internet.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think that you're right. There's you just hear so many voices now,
and they kind of drown out each other, and it's quite frankly pointless. Although saying that, I have just logged
just
into
like Arsenal right now.
I have logged into Tottenham Fan TV, and there's nobody there. So
they've got that channel. That's because it does seem though that all the clubs are starting to get their not necessarily their version of, but their fan TV thing that is just absolutely embarrassing. So United have got is he called Goldstein or something?
Oh yeah, Mark. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. It's Mark.
That guy.
Goldbridge. Yeah, Mark Goldbridge. He's Manchester United lad.
Yeah, so he's their idiot, and then Spurs have got those two brothers.
Oh yeah.
The first time I was aware of them was the Champions League final, where he's videoing it, and then when they went down like really early, he's like and they always seem to pop up whenever Spurs kind of grab defeat from the jaws of victory, and so it does seem that it kind of makes me feel a little better that other clubs seem to have their idiots as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'd like to see City, Liverpool, I'm sure Chelsea must have one. They must have their idiots as well. I'd like to start seeing all of them.
Yeah, I mean, they'd all start to come out the woodwork. Swindon have their own idiot. It's me. That's what I want. That's what I'd just like to be condemned by the whole town. It's like, oh, you're that idiot that rants about Swindon on the internet. Yeah, thank you very much.
If you were making the money AFTV was, you wouldn't give a shit.
I'd be saying just libelous things all the freaking time because, quite frankly, the money's there.
Just start doing. Shall we just start doing this outside the county ground?
Yeah,
in the cold.
It was a cold, rainy Tuesday night in Swindon. We faced Tranmere Rovers and we drew 0-0. Arteta has been talking about the Rwandan president. Well, he's been talking about the comments made by the Rwandan president. He said, "You have to play 38 games against every team this season," he said. It's the perception, the pressure, and again, the negativity. I just want people that are constructive around me. Anyone to say... And I was talking about this last week. It does feel to us, to me, because I had Callum on last week and we were talking about it, and we asked how much time does Arteta get following that 1-0 defeat to Brentford. And whilst I won't ask you the same question, we did make the kind of... Somebody made a point in the chat saying Arteta put the training cones out for Pep and suddenly he's world class. And it kind of felt... Did it feel to you as an Arsenal fan at the time when Arteta was appointed that you're getting one of Pep's protégés and that he was going to be that damn good?
For me personally, no. It was always going to be a gamble. And things I've kind of like read and interviews, things I've seen since, you get, there's a lot, like when Wenger's spoken about him and players that he played with, they've all kind of said like it was obviously he was going to go into management. He's a real he's a real sort of critical thinker about football and stuff. So I get that he's made the move. Was it a bit early? I don't know, but I think at the end of the day, we were never going to go for somebody. We were never going to go for a big name. They talked to Arteta before they went for Emery, and for whatever reason I think they probably went, oh, do you know what, we'll go for a safe pair of hands this time, and which obviously didn't quite work out, and I think overriding that as well, he's cheap. Genuinely, I think they've gone, well, he's played for the club, so and fairly recently as well, so he knows the club, he knows like the values of the club and stuff. Although really, I don't know if the current kind of board and everything really care about any of that, based on the way they conduct themselves. I think the whole like working with Pep, and Pep said quite a lot of good things about him. As I think the first time he was up for the job, and yeah, like I said, Pep said loads of good things about him. So I think I think there was a little bit of like, oh, maybe we'll get a little bit of a sprinkle of sort of like Pep's magic coming with him. But Arteta's his own man, and he's still figuring out his own style. For me, I support the team whilst he's a manager. You know, try and back him as much as you can. Do I think he's going to be the manager that's going to get us challenging for the league? No, I don't. And at this point, I'd like to be able to watch a game and like feel excited and enjoy the football that we're playing. And for the last season and a half, you just get a glimmer every now and then. It's been, and I mean, the football's been fairly dour since Wenger left for me. I mean, with Wenger, and towards the end of Wenger's reign, it wasn't great. But what we didn't do, and which we seem to continue doing now, that started in the Emery kind of era, was just conceding loads of shots, like all the time, and never taking any. We'll take like 4 shots a game, and if we're lucky, we might win 1-0. But then the opposition, no matter where they are in the league, will have like 15 to 20 shots. And it started, and I don't understand. I don't understand why that happens and why. Well, it's because of the way we're playing. But yeah, I'd like to just get back to seeing some of those more of that nice flowing football that we got really used to. And you see it sometimes, and you see it a lot more when we're playing 3 at the back with the personnel we've got and everything. But he's just desperate to move away from that. He wants his 4-3-3. So no, I don't think he's going to be the man for the long term for us. I don't think. Will he be a top manager in the future? I think you'll probably find out in his next job. After that, depends. I think it depends where you go. If he insists on staying in England and it doesn't work out with Arsenal, then no, I don't think he will. But if he goes off and if he goes back to Spain or he goes to Italy or something and carves out the career there, then I think you probably see him come back with some success in that. But right now, I think it is too soon.
Okay, and we talk about transfers. Now transfer rumours coming up, but Odegaard has joined Arsenal from Real Madrid this week. He's a player that we were talking about last week as potentially one of a potential game changer for Arsenal, that major signing that they needed. Happy to get him on a permanent since he was on loan at the end of last season?
Yeah, actually, do you know what? I think it's a good bit of business because he's 22. He had a really good season at Sociedad, sort of the season before last. I think he showed kind of flashes of what he can do during his loan period at Arsenal, and arrived at sort of like the better part of the season for us. Obviously, the second half of the season, Arsenal were much better than they were in the first half, and obviously he's contributed to that. I know Merson kind of said, "Oh, what does that do for Smith Rowe?" But I think actually having him there will make things easier for him because there'll be less pressure on. I actually think Smith Rowe could potentially play a bit deeper alongside Partey as well. I know he's a 10, but I think he could do that. I was quite excited at the prospect of Maddison. I'm not going to lie, but that's because I think you just have, I think as an English fan of an English team, there is that kind of romance about having more English players, like good quality English players in there. It feels good, but Odegaard, he's a few years younger, he's 30 million quid cheaper, and if that means we can go and I say we can go and get a right back and another midfielder, then great. But I think they pretty much spent the rest of that on Ramsdale.
Yes. Why have you signed Aaron Ramsdale? I don't understand this.
I like the way that you asked the question as if I have the official answer.
You must have the official answer. I don't understand. This does not compute to me because he's nowhere near the quality of, say, Dean Henderson when he was at Sheffield United. Aaron Ramsdale, I can't make sense of this. You sold your best number 2 keeper to Aston Villa for £20 million, and you've signed this one for £30 million, and he will never play for you.
I don't think that's the case. I think he will be. I think this season him and Leno will take it in turns. Leno will go next summer, and then Ramsdale will be number 1. I think is the plan. I'm not saying that I think he's an amazing keeper. I haven't seen enough of him to really turn around and say like, oh, he's amazing, he's definitely worth the money, or he's absolutely abysmal. And Southgate obviously saw something in him. He was in the squad for the Euros, so if that's anything to go on. You mentioned Henderson, but like it's not like that was an option for us.
Oh no. I'm just comparing 2 English keepers.
Yeah, but so I think I was disappointed when Martinez went last summer.
New follower, but they're saying, damn, I was hoping this was American football. It's not. It's proper English football.
Soccer ball.
Soccer ball. Well, you are in an FC Dallas shirt, so actually, to be fair, I mean, I can understand the confusion.
Come on, mate. Yeah, I'm representing you guys here. Stick around. Learn about the proper game.
The FC Dallas play. Why are they called FC? We must get into this later, but I just had a random question just popped into my head. If Americans call it soccer, why are FC Dallas called Football Club Dallas when they call it soccer? That to
purely
me
is that's purely because like.
Why didn't they call it Soccer Club Dallas?
That sounds shit.
I know it does, but they call it soccer.
Someone's just gone FC Dallas. That sounds cool. It's got more of a global reach as well.
Someone just said, "What even is that?" in the chat. What even is an FC Dallas? I've got no idea.
I've never watched a game.
You've never watched the MLS.
I've never watched them play. I've got no desire to watch them play. I was just flicking through the Adidas site and went,
"That's a nice kit. Yeah, I'll buy that. I'll buy that shirt. That's a nice shirt." You're in an American shirt. I'm in a German one, so neither of us are English football fans, apparently.
Oh yeah, do you know we're just disgusting hipsters? That's the problem.
I discovered I was a footballing hipster when I watched HITC Sevens on YouTube, and they said this is the channel for footballing hipsters, and I was like, oh well, fuck me, I'm a footballing hipster.
I am home.
Here I am. Home is where I am. So
no, the real answer is.
Well, I'm gonna go find some real football talk. This is real football, not that rugby for pussies that Americans play. Oh, you wear body armour? Rugby lads don't even wear body armour. Come back to me when they stop wearing body armour. I jest, of course. You have a good night. Go on.
Their ears are intact, though, aren't they?
Yes, to be fair, all their ears are intact.
So, really, who's winning?
Who's winning? Old cauliflower ears over there, or Mr. I've got dementia over here? Probably both. Probably neither. Back to Arsenal. Have a good night.
Yeah, sorry, Martinez. Yeah, I got really thrown by that. Aguero as well. I was like, what is that? I thought it was just me. I was like, hang on, what have they done? I was disappointed in Martinez when he wanted to be number 1, and instead of, I suppose there's an element of, do you know what? I've been fighting for number 1 for years, and I've had a run of 11. He played 11 games, to be fair. 11 games in the league. Yeah, he did well. And I think the thought was, do you know what, Leno, because before Leno got injured against Brighton, he'd been absolutely fantastic for us. No denying it. But it's just since he's come back from injury, he hasn't been the same. Now, I don't know if that's because he hasn't got a Martinez breathing down his neck to play. And I think that's why they've gone for Ramsdale, because they brought in Runnison, who was I'm trying to come up with a different term other than utter dog shit. I can't. He's utter dog shit, and he was so bad, and that they've gone. Oh, okay. Well, we need to get a proper keeper. But the one thing that worries me is the goalkeeping coach who pushed for Runnison. Yeah.
Mm.
Same guy is the guy who's been pushing for Ramsdale as well. So and I know there's the stat for Ramsdale that whoever he signs for gets relegated.
Yay! Arsenal in the Championship next season.
Hey, we'd have a lovely old time. No,
AFTV
I think,
live from the Championship.
I reckon they'd fold. They would, wouldn't they?
No, they couldn't. They'd make their most amount of business in the Championship with just comments going.
But yeah, so I don't think that's going to happen. But yeah, so there's that stat, but there's also the thing of at all of those clubs that he's been at, he has always been the Player of the Year.
Yeah.
But that's because he signed for clubs that were sort of struggling to stay in their divisions and stuff. So I think you can probably read a little bit too much into that. But he's obviously got something. Seen the interview with him, he looks absolutely delighted to be there, which you want that. I just hope that I think it's the problem that Arsenal have. There's two things for me that Arsenal have had a problem with for a long time now, and that's one, it's that mentality and that real desire to win, and on that mental side, they've all been kind of very nice, and just that had that soft underbelly basically, and that's from a mentality perspective, but also actually physically. I know Wenger moved away from. He started off with having physically strong, technically good players, and then he went down. Then he went down a route similar to kind of Barcelona with the diminutive, super technical players and pace and stuff, which is great. And at points that works really well, but actually you could see that drop off because you can't. If you're going to be successful in the Premier League, you have to have the physicality. And the problem that Arsenal have, especially when they play against, probably more so when they play against the teams lower down the league as well, is that, look at like Burnley. Burnley know when they come out to play against Arsenal, they just have to throw their weight around a bit and that'll keep them in the game. And in those games as well, because those sides, particularly Burnley, will be like, oh, they're always diving all over the place, blah, blah, blah. The refs let more stuff go because they've already, it's that kind of unconscious bias, I suppose, to say like they are going to go down easily, and so they're not as hot on it. And that's not Arsenal really, it's unfair on Arsenal, that's of their own making. And they really need that. It's the mentality of the players in the dressing room, because they've all been really comfortable. They've got nice wages. They're all mates, and they've all and they're a lovely old time. Nobody really disciplines them and stuff. That's why since Arteta's come in and he's taken quite a hard line. You see, like Guendouzi was like, "Whoa, hang on a minute. What do you mean? I'm out of the squad for 2 weeks because I didn't turn up to training on time, whatever." Or Aubameyang getting dropped from the North London derby because he was late for the meeting and stuff. Like, they haven't had that, so then they don't know how to. Then they're all a bit like shocked by it, and it seems like Arteta's this like crazy disciplinarian when actually it's minimum standards.
Reasonable.
Yeah,
it's not Jose Mourinho.
I think they've had it. I think they've had it too easy for too long. And but also physically, so the mentality isn't right, and then physically within the team, like when have you seen Arsenal like really go toe to toe with anybody and physically it's not happened for a long time, and even like Partey's like a big physically imposing guy, but one, he can't do it all on his own, and two, he's barely fit. And then you got Xhaka, who I think for me, obviously he really divides opinion, but technically, from his range of passing is great. He clearly has a lot of passion, and he clearly wants to win. But I think he just doesn't have the pace or actually the brain to do it properly, because there's plenty of players. A lot of people talk about his pace, but there's a lot of slow players who just read the game better, and they just make sure they're in the right places and that. And he doesn't do that, which is why he's always he's liable to get sent off or give away a penalty or something through rash challenges, because it doesn't feel like he quite reads the game as well as he should do in that position and he's also it looks as well like he's one of those players who just plays better for his national side, and probably because he's one of the main men there as well.
Yeah. So there you go. A pretty good dissection of Arsenal there, and the transfer of started on Ramsdale, but it's got into a full dissection of the team. I like that.
Sorry, Jack.
No, I like it. Hey, it's wasted a good 10 minutes on it. Hey, it's wasted a good 10 minutes of the program. That's fantastic. Also, then we'll get into transfer rumours now. Paris Saint-Germain and French forward Kylian Mbappe is on Manchester United's watch list of potential targets next summer, says ESPN.
I'm not being funny, but
I don't see that happening.
He's on everybody's watch list. He's Kylian Mbappe. What a ridiculous thing to say.
I know.
Do you think that if you just went...
That's just an easy clickbait. Easy clickbait headline from ESPN. Thank you.
Do you think at Juventus they're going like, no, we're not interested in Kylian Mbappe?
You know who we're really interested in? Who's that guy that MK Don signed on a free from Scott Twine? That's who we want. That's we Juventus want Scott Twine from MK Dons.
Well, Bayern Munich are like, do you know what? Maybe we just go for that big lad from Solihull Moors.
Didn't they do that once? Didn't they sign somebody from Tranmere Rovers? Bayern Munich.
Yeah.
Dale Jennings. Was it Dale Jennings? Dale Jennings. Yeah. I'm sure it was.
He was quite a young lad though, wasn't he? He was only like 16, wasn't he?
No, I thought he was like 24, 25 at the time.
Was he?
Where is he now? Oh, he signed for it was 2011. So hang on. He's 28 now. He's born in 92. He was
18.
So he was 18. Okay. He signed for Bayern Munich from Tranmere after only one season. He's from Liverpool, and now by the way, when you've reached the heights of Bayern Munich, Liam, there's only one place to go. Do you know where that is?
No, I don't. Tell me.
Runcorn Town FC.
Do you know what? First game I ever saw at Wembley, and this was the old Wembley, was Woking versus Runcorn in the FA Vars final.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Woking there won that one.
Yeah, he plays for Runcorn Town Football Club. How can you go from Tranmere to Bayern Munich and then end up at Runcorn Town? You've had a piss-poor career, lad. You've had a piss-poor career. No offence.
No offence. Loads taken by him, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure.
It's like, mate, I played for Bayern Munich, or I've at least been to their stadium.
Yeah, played for their second team for like 2 years, and then they realised you were shit, and you ended up on a one-way ticket back to Runcorn.
I think what a dream, though. I'd do that. 2 years.
What, to play for Runcorn FC?
If I spent 2 years at Bayern Munich, absolutely.
No, you'd want to play professional. That's not even a professional team, Runcorn Town.
Well, it's not now,
Unless he just didn't want to play professional football anymore. Unless Bayern sucked out all the joy.
No, it's difficult though, because I think what happens with a lot of players, you peak at different times. So he may have absolutely peaked at 18, where he's played for Tranmere, he's been scouted, he's gone to Bayern, been in a different country as well, all that sort of stuff. He's done the 2 years. He could potentially, may have fallen out of love with football whilst he was out there, come back, and he's never just never quite got it back. But also, that might have been it. That could have been his peak, and then he's just fallen off a cliff. I think most people who play like peak when they're about 14. Everyone says 28 is when you get into your prime. That's if you're a professional footballer. Everyone else they peak when they're a kid.
Oh, I got a text. Oh, it says Ravel Morrison. There you go.
Yeah, well, I think his peak is yet to come.
I think his peak is somewhere in the bin.
It's a widow's peak.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Fucking hell. Anyway.
That's all he's got.
Back to transfer rumours. Manchester City have agreed not to stand in Emerick Laporta's way if a £60 million bid comes in for the Spanish defender, says the Daily Fail.
Yeah, this is interesting. I saw something on Twitter yesterday. I think was it in the Telegraph or something. I'm just trying to find it. There was basically they put like a list together of some of players that are basically available this season.
Yeah.
Like from clubs. Oh, here it is. Here we go. Yeah, the Times. Okay, so which stars are the leading clubs willing to offload? So Arsenal's got the most. Hardly surprising. So you've got Bellerin, Elneny, Holding, Kolasinac, Maitland-Niles, Nelson, Nketiah, Runnison, Suarez. I never know how to say his name. I think it's Suarez. Cedric Suarez or Soares. Somebody, if you know in the chat, if you know how to pronounce that surname correctly, because I've heard it different ways, please tell us. Torreira and Willian, right? So that's Arsenal. Chelsea.
Oh, I heard Aubameyang that Arsenal would be prepared to let him leave as well.
Yeah, but he doesn't want to go. Apparently, he wants to stay and be an Arsenal legend. That's his goal. So
great way of doing that is to just be mediocre.
Find form and score goals. But City's list was Jesus, Laporte, Bernardo Silva, and then Philippe Sandler. And I'll be honest, I don't know who he is, but I was quite surprised by the fact that Laporte was in there, because between if Diaz or Stones gets injured, who then steps in? As I find it feels just like quite an odd one that they would have. Surely you want at least 3 like top class centre backs if you're a side like City. Been saying that, I wouldn't have minded him, but now obviously got Ben White now, so he needs Laporte.
Who's scared of the ball, particularly against Brentford.
He'll be fine. He'll be absolutely fine. Do you want to hear Chelsea's list?
Oh, go on, far away.
So this feels to a certain extent like a greatest hits, because you're like, what? They're still there. So Timo Bakayoko.
Now that's what I call Chelsea.
Yeah. So you got Timo Bakayoko.
Who the bloody who?
So do you remember when Monaco had their run to the Champions League?
Yeah.
Semi-finals, was it? With Mbappe in that. He played. He was like the main man in the middle for them then. Chelsea bought him that summer. He played one season, did not do well. Since then, he's been out on loan to the likes of AC Milan, I think. Yeah, he's been to AC. I feel like he may have gone back to Monaco for a little bit, possibly. But he's just been out on loan for the last couple of seasons, and he's
he's been the Chelsea loan squad.
Yeah. Ross Barkley.
Oh yeah. Hang on, he's still there. I thought he was. I thought he was at Everton.
No.
I thought he'd gone back to Everton.
Unless that's happened in the last couple of days.
No, I don't. I think I think he is still there. I just thought he'd gone back to Everton. Everton decided he was shit and loaned him out to Villa.
No. Michy Batshuayi just extended his contract as well, because of the market. They're wanting to protect that investment. So hoping that they'll be able to get a better fee for him next season. And I think he's gone out on loan again.
Where was he last season? Palace.
Yep. Yeah. Here's one. You'll like this. You'll like this one. Danny Drinkwater.
What the fuck is he still doing there? Remember, kids. Don't drink alcohol. Drink
Didn't he
water.
He went on loan to Burnley the other season, didn't he? I think, and just didn't really do anything. Emerson, he's there.
He's still there. Jesus.
And this week, like Kennedy, why they didn't just let him go to Newcastle?
He's still.
But
I assume they released him.
No, he's still there.
Wow.
You got Matt Miyazaga. I don't know who he is.
No idea.
Baba Rahman.
No idea.
They signed him from France and just never played him. He's been out on loan. Here's another one as well. David Zappacosta, still there.
Jesus.
And then Kurt Zouma.
Oh.
Poor old Kurt Zouma.
Am I making this up? Did he join Fulham on loan or something, Kurt Zouma?
No.
I swear
he spent time at Stoke on loan.
That might have been it, man. That's maybe where I'm getting confused. I thought he'd Fulham.
Yeah, in a couple of places. No, I don't. He didn't go to Fulham. It was Loftus-Cheek went to Fulham on loan last season.
That was it. Where is he still there?
Yes. I believe so, but he's not on that list of players they're willing to let go.
Obviously, they sold Tammy Abrahams this week, which I thought was a poor move, but
Why?
I think he's got potential. I think Chelsea have let him go to the wrong kind of team. A Mourinho team that won't.
What?
A very defensive league, doesn't play good football.
Yeah.
I don't like it. He should have gone to somewhere like. My fear for Tammy Abrahams is that he'll end up like another Danny Welbeck. He'll be in and around the big teams, but he'll never do anything. And then he'll just slowly make his way down the league, and next thing you know, he'll be signing on a free transfer for Brighton and Hove Albion.
So, I was listening.
That's my concern.
I was listening to a podcast called On the Continent, which is like a stack one, so it's linked to Football Ramble, and they were saying on there that actually it's quite a good move because when players go, they play in the Premiership, things haven't kind of worked out. They're at a top club and it's not kind of working. If you go from Chelsea to Villa, say, it's more difficult to then get back up to a Liverpool, a United, afterwards. But if you move abroad and you go to a historically kind of big club abroad, which Roma are, and you do well there, you can kind of stay in that elite bracket rather than dropping down. So, and if you do well there, when you want to come back, you're still in that. Okay, Abraham, he's done well over there. Actually, maybe Liverpool are interested in bringing him in or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. I thought that was a really good point. It makes sense because if you go, you go down. If Abraham moves to if he moved to a Swansea or Swansea, sorry, to a Villa, and then has a season like he did when he was a few years back when he was on loan at Swansea, where he didn't really score anything because you don't have that quality around you creating those chances. Because he's quite a poacher, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not a striker who's just going to create something out of nothing. He's not that guy. He's the one who's getting on the end of stuff. So if you're going down playing at a lower level in the Premier League, you're not going to get those chances. If he started turning out for Norwich, he'll be pulling up Timo Pukki numbers because they're not going to create the same number of chances in that. Whereas Roma are a big side in Italy. He will get chances. He will score goals, and he'll be able to maintain that status. So it feels. I kind of agree. I feel like that's probably a good move, and I like seeing. I like seeing English players go abroad.
I cannot wait for the Amazon documentary where Jose Mourinho blames Tammy Abrahams for everything going wrong at Roma. Soon.
Oh no, it'll be Smalling.
Oh, of course. Sorry. Oh, he's still there. Shit. I
Louis
forgot.
Van Gaal's mate, Mike Smalling.
Yeah, Jesus Christ. I forgot he's still there. It'll be Smalling's fault. Maybe they should sign Luke Shaw.
That would be funny.
That'd be very funny.
Although, wasn't it Shaw said in the summer, I don't know why he keeps talking about me.
Yeah.
Bit weird, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit weird. I mean, hey, if Luke Shaw ever becomes homeless, at least he can live in Jose Mourinho's head rent-free. So, lovely. What else have we got? Chelsea will decide in the next few days whether or not to buy another midfielder with Atletico Madrid and Spain midfielder Saul Niguez.
Saul Niguez, yeah.
Saul Niguez, 26, considered a possibility. That's from football journalist Fabrizio Romano on Twitter. Also, France midfielder Tanguy Ndombele, 24 years old, has told Tottenham he is open to leaving the club. That's according to The Athletic.
Yeah, that's. I must admit, when I'd seen like a little bit of him, sort of first heard of him when people were interested, and when I found out Spurs had signed him, I was like, oh god, he looks good. He looks really good on the ball, and I don't know if you get a little bit more time in the French league or whatever, but other games I've seen is fairly physical league, which I think is why players sort of do well over here there. But he looked really good, and maybe it's spending a season and a bit or whatever under Mourinho has just absolutely battered it out of him, and he's just like, do you know what? I don't want to be here. Maybe he's not settled. But I think isn't Sissoko and Aurier are up for sale as well, aren't they? Mm-hmm. So, and I think they're his two mates. So he's just thinking, do you know what? Get me out of here. But yeah, he looked, like I said before he signed, he looked a hell of a player. But we haven't seen that in the Premiership, have we? But fair play to him though for saying that. Actually, do you know what? I'd rather go. I don't know where, but if anyone's interested, I'll go rather than stay here where I don't feel like it's working. Because it is a short career, isn't it? And yeah, he's only 24, but don't just stick. He's not sticking around for the money, which seems.
Yeah, that seems
like a good thing.
Yeah, it's yeah.
You think?
It's honourable. It's an honourable thing, but then again, it is Tottenham, so he might as well just go. Yeah, you guys aren't going to win anything, are you? Yeah, I'm going.
Do you think he's texting Pep?
Get me out of here, SOS.
Sending it. Do you think he's put together like a Michael Owen style video CV? He's sending around to clubs. Oh. This highlight reel. Remember when I did this rainbow flick?
Yeah. Remember when I played for Liverpool and I was good. Don't look at Real Madrid. Don't look at my history at Real Madrid or Newcastle when I was injured all the time. I think the majority of Newcastle fans still feel that transfer from Michael Owen from Real Madrid to Newcastle was a freaking rip-off. Just the biggest rip-off and swindle that.
Yeah.
In football.
I think after being in Madrid, he kind of. It did feel like he'd kind of fallen out of love with football. He was not fallen out of it. He just wasn't bothered anymore. And to be fair to him, when he was at Real Madrid, his actual goals to games ratio was decent. He just wasn't getting the nod, was he? But yeah, that time at Newcastle was bad. What I do find funny,
but he kind of recovered at Manchester United.
Yeah, but he was by that point he was an impact sub, wasn't he? Or playing in like Carling Cup games and things, and like he doesn't. When he talks about it, he says he refers to Man United as we, doesn't he? Which seems really weird because he wasn't there very long.
And he was a Liverpool lad for a long time. But then he's from Cheshire.
Cheshire, isn't he? So
I mean, Cheshire's a bit weird because they kind of go, well, I'm a Manchester United fan. Oh, I'm a Man City fan. No, I'm an Everton fan. No, I'm a Liverpool fan. It's like they support all four teams. It's just whoever signs them on the day.
Yeah.
It's just like, I've signed for Everton. I'm an Everton fan. Oh, I've got a transfer to Manchester United. I'm a Manchester United fan now. Oh, free transfer to City.
It's very Robbie Keane, isn't it? That's my boyhood club.
It's my boyhood club, Tottenham, Liverpool, wherever the fuck else.
Wolves.
LA Galaxy. Wolves, LA Galaxy. Inter
I've always
Milan.
dreamed of this. I've always dreamed of playing for LA Galaxy. Robbie, they were only founded 10 years ago.
Yeah, but they've always been my team.
I've always dreamed, yeah. They've always been my American soccer ball team.
Yeah, my American soccer ball team, LA Galaxy.
Maybe Owen operates a similar system to my my 7-year-old nephew. When asked what football team he supports, he just went, "I just support who wins."
I love that.
When pushed on that, he said, "Well, I just watch, and whoever's winning, I'll support them. But if they're not winning,
I'll support the other team."
I don't like him.
That is the polar opposite to what I used to be like, where I used to support the shit teams that lose all the time, like Wigan Athletic.
That's because you thought it made you cool.
Exactly. And then when you stop trying to be cool and realise that when you work too hard to be cool, you're just not cool. So then you stop giving a shit, put on loads of weight, and then suddenly you're a fat ass. Oh, sorry, am I still talking about me? Oh, yes.
It'll be okay, Dan.
Don't worry. Jacobi Boy's joined us in the chat. He says, my little sister does the exact same thing. She will support whoever is winning.
Maybe we're wrong, and maybe that is just the sign of an absolute winner. Like they don't give a shit. They're like, nah, I'm gonna be number one, and I don't care how I get there. Because I'll be honest with you, you play a game with the kid, he cheats in every single one. So he's an absolute. He's dog eat dog. He wants to win. He's a winner. So maybe he'll be really successful in life based on that, and maybe your little sister will be like that as well, mate.
Yeah. Fair play. Rounding up the transfer talk. Manchester United and Wales winger Daniel James is not going to be loaned out or sold by the club, once again, according to The Athletic. And finally, Sheffield United face competition from Serie A side Atalanta for a loan deal for Manchester United's Ivory Coast winger Amad Diallo, 19 years old. Quite frankly, let me give you my advice. Go to Atalanta. Sheffield United just lost 2-1 to Huddersfield Town. That's my advice.
That's where United bought him from as well, isn't it? They bought him from Atalanta.
And they're going to loan him back to Atalanta. You know what? We were talking about players earlier that were still at clubs. Is Donny van de Beek still at Manchester United?
Is Donny van de Beek still a footballer? Yes, he is. He's still at Man United. And I think his problem is probably that he strikes me as one of those. He's a very nice lad, and he goes in and he works hard, but he won't go and knock on Ollie's door and be like, "Why aren't you playing me?" and start booting off about it. He just, "I'll get my chance. When all the others who aren't playing are knocking on the door, going, "When are you going to play me?" Donny's just, "I'll just wait."
Yeah, if I was him, I'd have already handed I'd have handed a transfer request if I were him the second day I was at Manchester United, when it was clear that they had no intention of playing me.
No, yeah, they clearly bought him so nobody else could.
Stupid stock. But that's a Chelsea strategy of stockpiling everybody. Also, a little bit of a Man City strategy. They seem to have adopted that one. Jacobi Boy on the chat says, my sister to become Prime Minister. That is a scary thought indeed. A scary thought indeed.
Can't be any worse than it we've already got.
Yes, probably. Although she'll never be better than the Don. The Donald. The Don, the greatest world leader. The greatest world leader, of course. The Don. An update on something we were talking about last week, the Al Jazeera documentary into the EFL kind of shadowy ownership figures. The EFL are set to look at their rules. So a victory for...
Is that a victory? Someone's gone, by the way, this documentary's come out and we look really bad. We need to issue a statement. Oh, okay. We'll look at the rules. Don't mean they're going to do anything, does it?
They better bloody really do it, because it's absolutely disgusting.
Oh yeah.
They're looking to review their fit and proper owners and directors tests, which are quite frankly Bullshit. I do have a button for it, but I don't have my jingles ready. Can I get the jingles ready? Can I get them? I've got the button. It's a load of... There you go. It's a load of bollocks.
It's a big sigh there.
Wonderful. Well, it is just a load of bollocks.
It's what corrupt football owners and football bodies do to you, Dan, and they just grind you down, make you sigh in the middle of your show.
Talking about corrupt football bodies, let's talk about FIFA. Hey, everybody's favourite football organisation. Not the video game series, of course. I'm talking about the one that was owned by a man, or that was controlled by a man that used to be, whose name sounds like you're saying stepladder, because he did loads of illegal shit. That's why I'm not saying his name. He can't sue me. Ha ha ha. Yes, he probably could.
Just say allegedly.
Allegedly.
Just say allegedly.
Allegedly did loads of illegal shit.
Yeah.
Which he denies, by the way. He denies. FIFA. Looking into having a World Cup every 2 years. Now, part of me thinks that this is insane and that crazy season is already there. But the aforementioned Step Ladder proposed this in 1999. So it's not like this hasn't happened before. Now, if you need more detail on this, we're not going to go into the detail because once again, I'm going to be really annoying and say there's a video on our YouTube channel about it where you can go watch the Saudi Arabian Football Federation's proposal for a World Cup every 2 years. To give you the Cliff Notes version, Arsene Wenger got involved and said what he wants is more competitive matches. This is what he believes the fans want. Less friendlies, less qualifying matches, much more tournament play. So what he's proposing, and be prepared to be shocked by the insanity that this is proposed, 2036 World Cup, 2037 European Championship, 2038 World Cup, 2028 World Cup, 2026 World Cup, 2027 European Championship, 2028 World Cup, 2029 European Championship, 2030 World Cup, and so on and so on. You get so where the European Championships is, so it'll be for Africa, it'll be 2036 World Cup, 2037 African Cup of Nations, 2038 World Cup, and then 2039 AFC Asian Cup, going alongside all the continental. So all the continental competitions, will be in odd numbered years, and all the even numbered years will be reserved for World Cups.
For me, I think this is a terrible idea. You only have to look at this period with the pandemic to see the toll that it's taken on players, and you need to have periods where they're going to rest, because otherwise, you're getting the players that are going to be playing in these tournaments, those top players that everybody wants to see, you're going to run them into the ground, and means that their careers aren't going to last as long.
But they're just pieces of meat.
They are, and that's the thing, and this is where like players' unions and stuff need to start standing up and saying, no, we're not doing that. They need to make sure that they're at the table and in these conversations, because let's make no bones about it. Like, FIFA are corrupt. It's been proven that they're corrupt, and they've done next to jack shit to change things since Infantino's come in. He says, oh no, we're not corrupt at all. But I'm sorry, you don't just believe just because somebody walks in and goes, oh, there's no corruption in here, but doesn't actually look into anything, doesn't suspend people or do anything like that. The corruption at FIFA was so deep rooted that Sepp Blatter leaving, he's just a figurehead at the top of it. The whole thing is rotten. And when they go into each country for these World Cups, bearing in mind that FIFA is a non-profit organisation, they make sure that they strike deals with each of the countries to ensure that actually for all the money that they're making on tickets and merchandising and food sales and everything else that they can make money on, and TV rights and all of that sort of stuff, that they don't pay any tax on it. Or if they do, it's negligible. Now, for one, if you're a non-profit organisation, why do you need to be doing that? Why do you need to be taking from all these countries? So there's that. Also, there's like the legacy of it as well. So you look at South Africa 2010.
Yeah, 2010, South Africa.
Yeah, the
Waka
stadiums.
Waka, sorry,
Yeah,
Shakira.
so the stadiums. There's quite a few of the stadiums have kind of just been left and not used and kind of like fallen into ruin. I think I read about, and this was a while back, about one of them. There's like no electricity there anymore, or something, because of the cost of copper was high at the time. So people broke in and just nicked all the wiring and stuff out to then take the copper away and sell it. So like there's no. Once they're done with you, they're off. And then but then once you know, if you really want that, you bid for a World Cup. It's right. We need these all these facilities. So you pump the country pumps loads of money into building stadiums and everything. That FIFA don't contribute to. And then I was going to say
to your example, I think the best example of this, which is the most recent example, is the Arena de Amazonia in Brazil, in Manaus, which was literally built for the World Cup in 2016 and only ever used for the World Cup in 2014 World Cup and the 2016 Summer Olympics. And beyond that, nothing.
Yeah, because isn't it like Manaus is like on the equator, so it's ridiculously hot and humid. So why would you want to do any kind of sporting events there?
Yeah, they have Nacional. That's the club that play there, and they're not a good team.
Exactly. So for me, and it's it's an easy thing to say, but it's 100% about money. It's not going to be good for the players. It will then affect all of the domestic leagues, and on top, and don't forget as well, on top of this, they've also been talking about doing like a proper World Cup format, Club World Cup as well.
Oh yeah, summer tournament.
So when's that going to take place, or is that out of the window now? They want to do this, like. For me, I think you either, if you're going to have a World Cup every 2 years, you sack off your Euros, your Gold Cups and Cup of Nations and Copa America, all those like the continental tournaments, because it's too much. It's not good. It's not good for the players. Somebody think about those poor millionaires.
Those poor millionaires kicking the ball around. Those pieces of meat that make money.
Do you know what? To a certain extent, it's not even about them. If you look at it purely like from a business perspective, the product will suffer if there is too much of it.
Yep, it's over. What you're talking about is oversaturation of the marketplace.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. If I've got half a glass of orange juice, that's pretty nice orange juice, that. But I would like some more. And I just keep adding water to it. Eventually, it's horrible.
Yeah,
it's rubbish. And it's the same thing. If you just keep doing it all the time, it doesn't become special. It's not special anymore if you do it every year. And at the moment, like the World Cup is special. It's every 4 years, and everybody, as football fans, when the World Cups come in, you start to get that bit of a buzz. Even if your team's had a shit season, you don't think your country's going to win, you get excited about the World Cup because you're seeing players play together that you don't normally see, or players from leagues that you don't really know about, and you get all these really good stories. So and even like with the Euros as well, like look at Denmark. We had a Danish fan ask us about how we thought Denmark were going to do before the tournament started, and we were like, no, we don't really think they're going to be up to much. And they had obviously a horrific start, but because of that, the narrative that went with it, there was loads of people behind them, and they did really well. If you start having it every other year, the magic kind of goes from it, and it doesn't. I don't know. For me, it just stinks. The idea absolutely stinks.
It just
I'm disappointed in Wenger.
He is the one that has backed these proposals. He didn't come up with them. That was the Saudi.
I'm angry at him. I'm angry at him, mate.
Oh.
I don't.
Oh, sorry.
I'm making him.
Sorry,
Wenger. I've put him at the back of the desk now, facing away from me because I can't even look at him.
Yeah, I believe hosting the World Cup every 2 years to be an utterly diabolical situation, and I think is a completely unrealistic proposal. You'll see in the video if you watch it that the UEFA president is, no surprises, fundamentally against it. And said that we won't play. We just will not play in this second World Cup. So we'll play when we're free, and then the one in 2 years we're just not going to play because we've got a European Championship to play.
Yeah,
and that's a cash cow for UEFA. now we go to controversial transfers. Have you seen this one? Former Chelsea winger Pedro has completed a move to the most controversial club from its controversial rival. He's left Roma and gone to Lazio.
Ooh.
That's like going from Celtic to Rangers. That is not an advisable transfer move.
No, it's like the Ultras, the Lazio Ultras are...
They're insane.
Mental, yeah.
They're completely cuckoo.
And how do they feel about this? when they rang you, when you spoke to them, Dan, how did they feel about it?
Well, as I say, they're completely cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. They are just crazy.
Are they like happy, or are they like, no, fuck off?
I think the latter. I think they're generally like, fuck off. What the fuck are you doing here? They are, oh, goodness. Roma were very keen to offload him, and their rivals, their immortal City rivals, €3.5 million was the fee. Roma owed €3.5 million in tax. There you go. So that's why they needed to offload. They sold him to pay a fucking tax bill. They sold him to pay a tax bill.
Surely, though, if you're Lazio, you go, nah. Just see them.
No. We are joking. No.
Do you want Pedro? Well, $3.5 million. That's pretty cheap. It is pretty cheap. But I heard you've got a tax bill for $3.5 million, so I think I'll pass. That's mad.
Is this the most? Is this the most controversial transfer?
Yeah, no. I feel like moving between the Rome clubs is worse than, say, moving between Barca and Madrid.
Oh yeah.
But I think from how controversial is this particular transfer? I would say probably not that controversial, because he's not a. If he was like Roma's star player, and everything was, but if say back in the day, like De Rossi or Totti went from Roma to Lazio, then that would have been absolutely insane if they'd done that at like the peak of their powers. But the fact that Pedro has been at Roma, 2 seasons?
When he left Chelsea.
Yeah, so he's been there 2 seasons. He's coming towards the end of his career.
He's 34.
Yeah, and by all accounts, he's not been like ripping it up in Serie A. It feels like that could kind of, well, clearly it's not gone under the radar, but not be as big a deal. But it's not like Sol Campbell walking out on Spurs and signing for Arsenal.
I would equate it to, going from Roma to Lazio to leaving Celtic and going to Rangers. I would say Mo Johnson is somebody that comes to mind, because he played for Celtic, Catholic lad, ended up leaving Celtic for going to France, and then came back to Scotland and played for Rangers, which is back then in the 80s and 90s is not something like Rangers had a policy of you do not sign Catholic players. You just do not sign them. You don't sign them because they'll have allegiances to the other team, so you never sign them. And I believe it was Graham Souness who was the manager and said, well, that's bollocks. I'm just going to sign who's best for Rangers. So I believe it was Graham Souness that ended that stupid policy and quite xenophobic policy of Rangers. But Celtic players had a strong history of signing Protestant players. Kenny Dalglish is a Protestant player and was a Rangers fan.
Yeah, so didn't give a shit because they just want to win the league.
Yeah, they just wanted to win the league, and Rangers were like, "No, we've got to hold steady here and sign only
they're not
good
the only
union
kind of club
players."
who's had policies like that, because like Athletic Bilbao only take players from the Basque region.
Is that different though? Is that xenophobia, or is that just because I just accused Rangers of xenophobia?
I don't necessarily think it's xenophobia, and I feel like. Does Sociedad do it as well, or is it just that players?
No, I think it's just Bilbao.
It's just Bilbao, and that's it, and they just take players from Sociedad.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what they do. Is it xenophobia? I think it's only xenophobia if you're saying, like, I'm if you're kind of like discriminating against those other players and kind of in a negative kind of way. But I think it's more they're just saying like, look, we're a Basque club, and
we want to sign Basque players.
Yeah, we want to be a club for the Basque people, and if
you can still be a club for the Basque people and sign non-Basque players. Rangers eventually got wise and signed players that were actually going to help them win the league.
I guess there's an element.
Rangers will sign anybody nowadays as long as it helps them beat Celtic. So
absolutely.
They saw the error of their ways and went, fuck it.
Yeah, and that's because largely religion is kind of not really got a place.
The problem with Celtic and Rangers is that it's religion merged in with a little bit of Northern Irish politics. So
so like but with Bilbao it's a bit different and stuff. But like just sort of going back to Lazio and Roma and stuff, and I think actually, do you know what? As a comparison for transfers, probably maybe a little bit more direct. It's probably Gallas from Arsenal to Spurs.
Yeah.
Nobody really gave a shit. It'd just be like, oh god, he's gone to play for them. We don't like him anymore, and that was kind of it. It wasn't like a big it's like I say, like Campbell going the other way was massive.
That was massive.
That was huge, and like even as an Arsenal fan, I was like, oh shit, oh my god, and he was an absolute colossus for us. But because they're later on in their career, like Gallas, even when he came to Arsenal, Gallas was kind of later on in his career anyways. But then when he moved to Spurs, nobody asked, Arsenal fans were like outraged because he was going to go on there and sort of do well or anything. Everyone was a bit like, cause kind of, he needs to go because he's a bit of a dick. And it just it kind of happened. Everyone was like, fine. We probably now just gives us carte blanche to really hate you, whereas before, because you were ours, we just kind of mildly disliked you. So I think it's maybe a little bit more, but I don't know if there's any Lazio fans who are watching, or Roma fans, then
I don't.
Italian football experts.
I don't think they'll particularly care, but I think the most controversial clubs to change from is definitely, Lazio and Roma are definitely up there. Celtic and Rangers.
Oh, yeah.
I think the most controversial one that I've not seen anyone leave, somebody in Turkey can help me with this, hopefully. Turkish football expert. Has there ever been a transfer between Fenerbahce and Galatasaray? Because that player is getting murdered. Whoever does that is getting murdered.
What about Emre? I don't know if he's directly gone between the two.
Well, I mean, Mo Johnson didn't when he went to Rangers, so I don't know. I no idea. I can't find anybody that's gone directly between Galatasaray and Fenerbahce, but that is a riot. You would have a riot in Istanbul if that happened. And just trying to think of, I mean, the whole Rafa Benitez going to Everton from Liverpool, I mean, that's kind of like, they're all, Liverpool fans are family members that are Everton fans. I mean, it's not a derby in that way.
Carragher grew up
he grew up an Everton fan and was bollocked for watching an Everton match in the back of the bus on a Liverpool youth game once upon a time, or listening to it on the radio. And celebrating when Everton got a goal, and somebody in the coaching team told him never to celebrate an Everton goal.
And now he's a Liverpool fan.
Craig, I'm hoping I'm saying that well, that right. Says top six rivalries are dead. Yeah. I mean, it's a sad factor of reality. Really, it's more gentrified. The fan bases have been gentrified.
I don't know. The North London derby is still big.
Yeah, but you would have. Could you have Tottenham and Arsenal fans in the same family? Probably.
My nephew is Spurs
there you go. I would say it's less likely to have Celtic and Rangers fans in the same family, for instance. But Liverpool and Everton fans all exist in the same family. The Manchester clubs.
Yeah, I think
maybe Manchester United and Leeds. Maybe that might be a bit of a problem, but.
Well, you see
Yorkshire and Lancashire,
footage. Did you see all the footage after I don't know if it's after or before the game last week?
Oh no!
For like the fans, United and Leeds fans like fighting in the streets and stuff.
Craigie says, you see fans that are mates and family. That just doesn't happen with Newcastle, Sunderland. Fantastic shout. Burnley, Blackburn. I'm not sure about that one. Maybe because we haven't seen it in the Premier League. They are big rivals, but I always thought Blackburn were more rivals with Bolton. I know Burnley see Blackburn as rivals.
The one we're missing out here, Dan, which is kind of shame on us, and Craigie might not be aware of this one, but obviously Swindon and Oxford. It does make me laugh, but how big a rivalry that is between the two towns. It's
insanely big. I mean, it sounds stupid, I know, but it is insanely big. Like, we fight it. Like, there are fights whenever these... Oh, we've missed out the biggest one. It's just come into my head. This is the one where players have gone from club to club. Teddy Sheringham, Millwall, and West Ham United. Yeah. If you're a West Ham family, you're bringing a Millwall fan home, you're going to be like, nah, out. Same with vice versa as well. If you're a Millwall family bringing a West Ham fan home, it's out. You're out. You just don't do it. Not Millwall, not West Ham.
True. And actually, what I was going to say about the Swindon-Oxford rivalry, I was at a Swindon-Oxford game at the county ground once.
Oh.
And
see, I don't go to those games.
I came out, and there was these two lads like rolling around the floor, fighting each other. And I was like, and I was probably about 14 at the time, so I was like, yeah, come on! And then suddenly they stopped and separated because they realised they were both Swindon fans. But yeah, so that rivalry is I think it's unreasonably fierce.
You see, I'd have said Reading in the past, but we haven't played them in so long that it doesn't really matter anymore, the M4 derby. They're just so much better than us. They always have been for the last 20 years, so...
Yeah. It's also a rubbish name for a derby as well.
And that was this week's edition of the Football Fan Show podcast. Thank you very much for tuning in. Liam Barry was my guest today. I am Danny Harrington, and we will see you next week for a brand new episode. In the meantime, why not check us out on social media? On Twitter, it's at TFFS Live. That's TFFS Live, where you can take part in Game of the Day polls, fan polls, and follow us there for the latest video content from our YouTube channel. Just search the Football Fan Show on YouTube, where you can go watch the long since delayed video, which is now up, on La Liga and CVC Capital Partners, potentially a deal coming with those two parties. You can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/The Football Fan Show, where you can keep up to date with the latest. You can watch our live streams on twitch.tv/The Football Fan Show, and you can email me anytime, thefootballfanshow@gmail.com. Until next week.